Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. So after 45 minutes of the developer update, we're all entirely clear on how the systems of Shadowlands are going to work? Yeah, I didn't think so. So I was, for the most part, okay with the presentation and how it went. I know a lot of people were upset, and yes, 100% I am extremely surprised that we got no release date. And that kinda says to me they know they have to release this fall, but they also know the product is very far from ready. We also got no specifics. As we kind of guessed, we knew that was going to happen. We got kind of a light sprinkling of things that we have seen before, you know, just a little bit more polished. Now what very quickly made me very much not okay with the presentation was the flood of videos from WoW influencers as soon as the presentation was over who had managed to get their hands on a look at the new build, but they couldn't, before the developer update, say anything about it. Shh. Many of you may remember the video I did the other day saying that Preach had said, can't say anything bad yet, you got to see the whole picture, can't say anything about it at all. And once the presentation was done, I went and watched a video from Sloot talking about the soul conduits and the bindings. Now, this is no dig on Sloot at all. Sloot is an absolute epic, amazing member of the community, and I will actually say the video was fantastic. I'll even put a link in the description for it. And it was talking to us about the soul bindings, the conduits, how they're all going to fit together, how they're all going to work. I remember seeing a video from Preach telling us about the new table. Probably the worst person to tell us about the new table. During those videos, at multiple points, they're saying, I don't actually know how this is going to work. I don't know if this is how it's intended. I assume the value of X is going to change. This is just a placeholder for the beta, but I'm not entirely sure. Over and over and over and over and over again. They were not sure if these things they were looking at were intended. All I have to say to that is, where the naughty was Blizzard? Why give us 45 minutes of fluff trying to sell us a really bland looking collector's edition, if I'm being brutally honest, rather than having the main people behind these systems talk about them in 10-minute segments, rather than 10-minute YouTube video from somebody completely different I've got to go and watch. Explain the overall concept, the vision of what it is that Blizzard are trying to achieve, and then dive a little deeper. Explain how this is actually going to work in-game based on what your vision is, rather than people of the community that really know as little as the rest of us do. And these systems that they're trying to explain, they're already on a knife edge of becoming a car crash. The community is already saying that, yeah, we love the world we're about to go into with Shadowlands. There's so much to enjoy there. But these systems that you're presenting are horrendous and we're really worried about them. So you give us people that have no idea about the systems to explain them to us. It's crazy. Have a 1 hour long developer update. Have a 10-minute intro. At that point you can try and push us the collector's edition. Then have 10 minutes on the covenants. Why they want to lock them down, how they are going to balance them during the course of the game to make sure there isn't one that's crazy powerful compared to the others. Have 10 minutes dedicated to soul bindings and the conduits. Have 10 minutes on the legendaries. 10 minutes on how these systems will interact with one another. 10 minutes on what is coming up, and then at the very end announce the beta. No, instead, and I know this sounds harsh, Blizzard hide behind the YouTubers and streamers because they think people will be happier and won't question what they presented if it comes from them. I said right at the start I was happy with the presentation, and for all intents and purposes I was. But the way things have been done after that makes me think Blizzard are trying to buy goodwill for the community through these influencers. And you only do that if what you're trying to sell is snake oil. Else you have the strength of your own convictions, the belief in the product you're trying to ship. That drives you on. If they'd done, as I say, an hour-long update, and at the end said, look, enough of us talking. We've presented to you all of these different things. They are all coming next week. The beta is being opened. Experience this for yourself. Give us your feedback. No, we have not finished class balancing yet. The numbers aren't tuned. But get out there and give us feedback. I would have been sold that they really believe and they really have faith in this layered systems that they are presenting to us in Shadowlands. Now, don't get me wrong, I still believe in Shadowlands can be a great expansion. And to be fair, after BFA, anything's got to be better. God, I hope I don't live to regret those words. But Blizzard have promised us much. I've been 100% for allowing the RPG elements to for all intents and purposes, return to the game, locking things behind covenants. But, and again, this is a big Tauren-sized but. If Blizzard do that, they have to meet the community halfway. Every reset, every time something gets out of control, they need to be monitoring and they need to be prepared to immediately clamp down and balance on things so they don't get wildly out of control. So that people can pick the covenant that they want without fear of choosing wrong in the eyes of the meta of WoW. Now yes, there's always going to be one that's a percentage or two above, and the very best players will always need that advantage for what they're doing. But for the rest of us, if it's 1 or 2, maybe up to 3, maybe up to 5% difference between covenants, and you're constantly shifting that 5%, we can live with that as a community. And this becomes even more important when they've turned around and said that flying in Shadowlands is going to be tied to your covenant rep. So if you swap a lot, if you're jumping around, they've already said it's going to be hard, but potentially it's going to be impossible for you to get flying if you're constantly jumping around trying to maintain meta. And that's a little bit of a cheeky move. And with that in mind, I go back to what I said before, they have to balance it. They have to be on top. There cannot be a huge disparity between these covenant abilities. If they can't be up front of us in alpha and beta stage, what is going to happen when we're about to start a raid tier, or M+, or a PvP season, and there's a covenant ability or a soul conduit or binding, whatever it may be, that is severely broken, doing massive amounts of damage or giving huge amounts of survival compared to anything else? I would hope that Blizzard would come forward and talk to us directly. But as I say, if they can't do that during the alpha and beta, I'm not prepared to see Blizzard sit down for an interview with Beulah, and the only way I can hear about it is 186 videos spread out over a week with ever-increasing dramatic titles. People have shown Blizzard that they are happy to walk away. You know, they left in droves during BFA. And yes, without a shadow of a doubt, mid-Shadowlands, they can pull out the big, ooh, look, classic TBC is coming. And yes, it will save the numbers for the shareholders meeting. But that would be such a shame for an expansion that has promised so much. But that is me done, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Have a good one.